What if the person you think you can't live without is actually the very reason you feel trapped? And Carl Jung already knew why.
We need to talk about something that may sting, but it's necessary. You've been deceived for a long time. They've convinced you that what you feel is love, when in truth it's fear. Fear of being left, fear of not being enough, fear of not being accepted, fear of not having someone to reassure you that you matter. But tell me honestly, if that person disappeared tomorrow, would you stand firm? Or would you collapse like a fragile structure that only stood because someone else was holding it up? That knot in your stomach, the trembling hands when a text goes unanswered, the sleepless nights checking their last scene. That's not love. That's anxiety in disguise. That's dependence dressed up as passion. That's emotional bondage you've mistaken for affection, because no one ever showed you what love without need actually looks like. Carl Jung once compared the meeting of two people to the interaction of chemicals. If there's a reaction, both are changed. But you're not changing, you're dissolving. You're bending yourself into someone else's shape so they won't leave. You're shrinking, silencing, betraying your own essence because you're terrified of abandonment. Because you think without them, you're nothing. Here's the truth you'd rather avoid. What you feel is not love. It's an addiction. You're hooked on the other person like someone hooked on a drug. They give you sensations you haven't learned to generate on your own. They soothe the emptiness you don't dare face. Attachment is the illusion that you'll die without the other. But you won't. You'll face the pain, rebuild and transform. Absence, if looked at bravely, becomes your greatest teacher. Attachment chains you. Love liberates you. Attachment shrinks. Love expands. As long as you don't grasp the difference, you'll keep confusing cages for embraces, shackles for devotion. Real love doesn't need locks, forever promises, or guarantees. Jung understood this. People project their wounds outward, trying to heal with another's skin what bleeds inside. That's why attachment is everywhere, because most of us walk around with unhealed cuts, seeking someone else's presence as a bandage. We become emotional vampires, feeding off another's energy instead of tending to our own. But there comes a breaking point, a moment you realize what you thought was saving you is drowning you. And that's where detachment begins. Not as coldness, not as numb disconnection, but as the deepest act of self-love. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop chaining. It means you release the terror of loss. It means you understand that authentic love doesn't demand you destroy yourself. True love makes you more you, not less. It fuels your growth, not your diminishment. Detachment is an inner revolution, telling fear it no longer rules you, facing the void without trembling, realizing you were whole all along, even if you couldn't yet see it. Yes, it hurts. Letting go feels like tearing off a piece of your soul. You've spent so long believing someone else was your oxygen that walking alone feels impossible. But it is possible. And once you cross that threshold, everything shifts. Not because the world changes, but because you no longer see it through emptiness. You see it through fullness. Detachment doesn't close your heart. It opens it without conditions. It's the ability to say, I love you, but I don't need you to survive. That paradox is the highest form of love. Love without pressure, without manipulation, without desperate expectation. Jung called it individuation. The journey of integrating yourself, knowing yourself, becoming whole in yourself. Only from that wholeness can you connect without losing yourself, give without depletion, love without dependency. Because then you're not searching for someone to fill your emptiness, you're sharing the abundance of who you already are. But it takes courage. Attachment feels familiar, even when it hurts. Detachment feels like freefall. It confronts you with your shadows, your solitude, your fears. Many stop there, preferring the familiar prison over the abyss of freedom. But beyond that abyss lies peace. A peace that doesn't crumble when someone leaves. A love that flows from within outward, not the reverse. That's when you realize letting go isn't loss. It's recovery. Recovery of your essence, your power, your wholeness. Because real love doesn't hurt, doesn't suffocate, doesn't demand betrayal of self. If it breaks you, it's not love, it's attachment. No matter how romantic it looks, that bond is a prison. To truly love, you must first learn to be alone, to embrace solitude, to explore your shadows, to hold yourself steady when everything falls apart, to stop depending on another's reflection to see yourself. Only then can you say, I choose you, but I don't need you. Most people don't love, they cling. They cling to avoid confronting themselves. They mistake pain for passion, intensity for truth, dependency for devotion. But there's another path, the path of conscious detachment, the path of freedom, the path where love comes from fullness, not lack. Ask yourself, why does letting go feel like death? What part of me do I think disappears if they leave? What emptiness am I terrified to face? That is the root of attachment. And that root must be pulled, not with bitterness, but with compassion. Because this isn't about hating the other. It's about loving yourself enough not to depend on them to feel real. Love is not possession, it's presence. Not a chain, but a dance. If you need to trap, force, or control, it's not love, it's fear. And fear always destroys. So release with grace, with dignity, with love. Know that letting go is not losing. It's choosing yourself. When you choose yourself, the world shifts. You stop begging. You stop settling for crumbs. You stop clinging to those who cannot hold you. You stop dissolving in someone else's presence because you finally have your own. That is power. That is freedom. Detachment is not coldness. It's maturity. It's awareness. It's knowing that anything can leave, and still you will remain whole. That real safety is inside you, not outside. From that foundation, you can love without fear, connect without demands, give without losing. Yes, it's painful, but it's necessary, because as long as you confuse need with love, you'll stay trapped in cycles of suffering. It's time to wake up, to face attachment and say, I no longer need you. It's time to walk toward real love, a love that liberates, that builds, that begins not in another, but in you. Because when you're at peace with yourself, everything else aligns. Then and only then can you truly love.